Bapak-bapak dan Ibu-ibu semua.
Welcome, Pak Andri. And next speaker is Bapak Hengki Nauli Daulay, Head of Market Research at PT Indonesia Komoditas Index. Selamat siang, Pak Hengki.
Siang, Bu. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Pak. And next is Bapak Alexander Barus, CEO of PT Indonesia Morowali Industrial Park. Good afternoon, Pak Alex. I think already join us, Pak Alex.
Already.
Okay, he's trying to connect with the internet. And our next speaker is Mr. Scott Ye, Director of External Relations Department of PT Indonesia Weda Bay Industrial Park. Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Scott.
Yes, selamat siang.
Welcome and thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
And next, I would like to welcome our moderator, Mr. Stephen Brown, independent consultant with more than 10 years of experience in nickel industry in Indonesia. And he's joining from Sydney. Hello, Mr. Stephen Brown.
Hi, good afternoon.
Stephen, terima kasih. Thank you for your time. We understand that it's already 6 p.m. now in Sydney, yeah?
That's right.
We really appreciate your support to this webinar. Okay, and on behalf of the organizing committee, we'd like to deeply thank and give a sincere appreciation to our wonderful partners and sponsors. Please give a warm applause to our main sponsor, PT Shell Indonesia. Thank you very much, PT Shell Indonesia as main sponsor. And also our partner and sponsors, PT Jasa, Mutu, Mineral Indonesia, and PT Putra, Perkasa, Abadi. Thank you for a great contribution and trust.
Ada kekuatan luar biasa di sekeliling kita. Terpendam dalam individu, dalam mesin yang menderu, dan dari segala penjuru. Kekuatan yang siap untuk dikembangkan, untuk lahir sebagai sebuah potensi. Di Shell Lubricant Solutions, kami bangkitkan setiap potensi, hadirkan yang lebih dari solusi, untuk raih yang lebih di masa depan nanti. Kami percaya akan potensi yang membawa kebaikan, menggerakkan mesin dan menghidupkan kolaborasi untuk semakin berkembang. Potensi untuk terus melaju mencapai tujuan, menghadirkan peluang, menjaga lingkungan demi masa depan. Itulah yang mendorong kami untuk mengubah potensi menjadi sebuah solusi. Bersama Shell Lubricant Solutions.
Yes, thank you PT Shell Indonesia. And now, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, we'd love to hear from you, so you may type your questions in Q&A tab, and we will discuss it in Q&A session later. Or you may click raise hand, and then we will activate your microphone. So without any further ado, I now give the virtual floor to Mr. Stephen Brown. Please, Mr. Brown.
Great, thank you very much. This is a great opportunity to come together as the nickel industry and discuss a really booming topic. And we have a really good lineup today, as you've seen, the great speakers. So without further ado, I think we'll jump straight in. As mentioned, if there are any questions, please use the raise hand function or type them into the Q&A, and we'll come to that. I would ask all speakers, if possible, to try and limit to around 10 minutes each, so that we have enough time to come back and answer questions. And we can finish on time at 3:30. So first up for the keynote is Bapak Sony, who is the Director of Maritime Industry, Transport Equipment and Defense Equipment of the Ministry of Industry. So Pak Sony, silakan.
Pak Sony, mohon mikrofonnya diaktifkan terlebih dahulu. Iya.
Sudah. First of all, let us praise and thank God for the because of His blessing and grace, we can all gather in this webinar series. Unfortunately, Bapak Dirjen, Pak Taufik Babazir cannot attend this webinar today. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Index Komunitas Indonesia for having me at this webinar and facilitate discussions among various stakeholders and experts in the field and exchange opinion and insight about 2021 and 2021 Indonesian micro industry in sustainable development. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia has been enjoying tremendous growth over the last decades, an average about 5% annually. Based on the World Bank report show that Indonesia is ranked fifth among the G20 countries. This growth, of course, drives the demand for transport passengers and freight. It can rise to traffic congestion and air pollution. As demand for petroleum increases, the country oil self-sufficiency has declined with miles. Carbon dioxide emission have increased. The transport sector accounts for around 30% of global carbon emissions, and Indonesia, on the other hand, has already signed the Paris Convention to reduce gas emission, carbon dioxide emission to 29% in the 2030 by his own effort without the help of international and but by the help of international fund, we will achieve to reduce the carbon dioxide emission to 43%. We only transport to go to work, to harvest crops, to transport things, to store, to go to the groceries and other things. But on the other hand, most of the transport today we have in Indonesia is still dominated by the fossil fuel, or we call it ICE, internal combustion engine transportation. So that we have to tackle this issue in the very short time. 2030 is not far from now, so we have to work very hard to be able to reduce this number. Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to mention several elements of the Indonesian government approach to achieve the goal, the 29% of the Paris Conventions that we have already signed. First is the Presidential Decree number 55, 39 mandates the acceleration of the battery electric vehicle. The second is Government Regulation number 73, 2019 concerning the taxable goods classified as luxurious in the form of motor vehicles, which are subject to luxury tax. Regulated that luxury tax for motor vehicle is not only determined by vehicle category and engine, but also by the amount of exhaust gas emissions or fuel consumption. The third is that our Ministry of Industry already issued regulation number 27 and 28, 2020 for the ladies and gentlemen, and all the distinguished guests, several efforts have already been implemented by our government. First is that Ministry of Industry, NEDO, Kodamotor, Panasonic, and Indonesian associations are currently carrying out the demonstration project for electric motorbikes from the place in Bali.
Suaranya kurang jelas, Pak.
Sorry. Third is Bluebird and Forum Bangri in collaboration with the NDP and the Korean Active Bank is initiating the use of electric buses. The other one is Gerak Indonesia, which has used the Hyundai Ioniq electric vehicle. Is currently exploring cooperation with electric motorcycle manufacturer and other efforts that have been implemented done by not only government but also other parties.
Mungkin headsetnya jangan ditekan, Pak.
Okay.
Ya, oke ya, Pak.
The other element is we are all working together with many main automakers to accelerate the use of electric vehicles in Indonesia. Currently, we have 21 companies who have business in electric motorbike, and also some very big automakers like Hyundai want to invest in Indonesia, and all the figures say that they are the demand for the nickel smelter, of course, because many of the battery will be made from nickel base. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, according to the roadmap making Indonesia 4.0, by the 2030, Indonesia is targeted to become a major player in global automotive production for internal combustion engine and electric vehicles. One of the automotive 4.0 strategies is building ecosystem for automotive 4.0 strategies in building ecosystem for the EV industry, starting with ability to manufacture electric motorcycle and then developing the capacity of electric car production and its main components, battery, electric motor, and power control. And also that 2 days ago, Ministry of State-owned companies already issued one main company called Indonesia Battery Corporation. Hopefully that we are going to produce battery in 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, it gives me great pleasure to speak at today's event. I really forward to hear from you, opinion and insight on to accelerate our efforts for the electrification, integration and development. Thank you. Sincerely, Director General Taufik Babas. Thank you very much. Time is close, and I think I will give it back to Mr. Stephen Brown.
Many thanks, Pak Soni, for your remarks. I don't see any questions right now coming through. And so I think at this point we can move on to our next speaker. So that is Bapak Tubagus. Bapak Tubagus is the Deputy Assistant for Mining at the Coordinating Ministry of Maritime and Investment. So this is a key area, a key government function in the development of EVs in Indonesia. And so it's going to be a very good presentation. Pak Tubagus, I give the floor to you now.
Okay, thank you. Do I have to share my own presentation here? Or
Please, okay, Pak, welcome, Pak. Please, if
Okay.
you wanna share.
So we can start here. Pak Moderator, I have 10 minutes according to your
Yes, please.
time,
Yeah.
but I think I have about around 27 slides. But I think I try to conduct my presentation as good as I can. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished speakers and all webinar participants. It's such a good an honor for me to speak in this wonderful webinar. So I was assigned by Pak Deputy to speak in this webinar. And I think according to the committee requested to our office to deliver these topics, is about the outlook of the nickel supply to fulfill the demand for the EV, the electric vehicles. So I think this is a quite interesting topics. Recently, this is a trending topics for the nationally as well as global topics because of the energy transition in the world that request some transition by utilization the more cleaner energy. So I think I can start for this, my second slide. I will deliver by divide into 6 section of my presentation. In the space section, I would like to share about how the global nickel market, according to several institution trajectories, and then the second part, I will try to show you and to deliver about the nickel value chain in Indonesia, how about the current situation, and how about the opportunity to fill the niches of the part of the value chain of the nickel market in Indonesia. So, and then the third one is how about the one, this is the main topic according to the committee requested to me, is about the Indonesia nickel ore resource and reserve as a guarantee for the supply, the sustainable supply to feed the smelter industry that established in Indonesia. So the next is about how about the impact of the nickel downstream in Indonesia, particularly for the economics of Indonesia. We can elaborate this one. And then the other important section is about how about the government support to endorse, to encourage the nickel downstream. And the final section, I will deliver to all of you about the conclusion of this topic. So let's start for the global nickel outlook. So I think this is the common situation about the what we call the super cycle trend. As we know that the commodity super cycle is a long period of higher commodity price compared to its long-term trend. So I think we have a pass about 4 phases of the super cycle. The last super cycle is start from the 1996 when the industrialization started in China and other developing countries, where a lot of the commodities such as metal and fuel utilized by them to endorse the economic development. And then according to the current situation, we will face the next super cycle. Then we think that we will be started recently, that because of the current situation of this situation that requires the energy transition, that because this global requests some energy transition for utilize more the clean energy and also the to utilize the more environmental friendly devices and something. So according to the pathway from the 1997 Kyoto Protocol until the Paris Agreement in 2015, we are now facing to more cleaner situation than according to the data of 2019 that already 2 million units of electric vehicle already distributed all around the world. So I think it's very reasonable justification that we are now entering the pace of the next super cycle. So I think this is it's a very advantage moment for Indonesia, that because the next super cycle need a lot of base metal to support the renewable energy and its devices to utilize for that, such as nickel, as we can discuss in this session. So according to some trajectories from many institutions, such as Deloitte analysis, that we can see the EV sales as predicted to increase until 2030. So I think on 2030, the volume of the electric vehicle will achieve around 31.1 million, and then from that, 81% is coming from the battery electric vehicle. And then for the 2030, according to this trajectory, that's the electric vehicle will control is around 32% of total the market sales. So, and then China will lead and will be the largest market of that share in the world with around 49%. So that because the amount of the electric vehicle will increase significantly, so they will need some parts. The main part will be coming from the battery. So I think following the increasing of the electric vehicle, so the demand for the battery will be increased similarly. So I think according to the 5 types of the batteries, such as NCM, NCA, LCO, LMO, and LEV, it will be can be utilized for fulfill the electric vehicle. And we think according to the energy density in the market for the battery, the utilization of the nickel is very important to make a good energy storage. So the average amount of the nickel per car, for example, can increase from 20 kilogram to 40 until 50 gram in 2025. But it depends on the absorption of the type of battery. But I think the NCM will be dominated the type of the battery for the to provide the electric vehicle. So according to that request, the battery demand market, so it will be estimated that there will be about 490 kiloton nickel needed in 2025, is around 1.1 million ton nickel in 2030. It means that the market for the nickel is still huge. And we can see here how about the domestic and global battery market outlook according to some trajectory from the Ministry of State-Owned Enterprise, Ministry of BUMN. According to their trajectory, and then some parameters that being the consideration for the trajectory, in 2029 and 2030 is around 8 until 10 gigawatts demand growth for the electricity for the demand for the battery demand. And total in global ones, we will achieve around more than 700 gigawatt hour in the global market. So I think it will be achieved in 2030. So that will be a pack, the demand in the long term. We can see here that from the data gather, the nickel needs will increase around 4 million it will be multiplied double from 2020, whereas on 2040, the composition for the battery will be achieved on 30%. It means that on 2040, the demand from the battery sector will increase about 1.2 million tons of nickel. It means that the demand market for nickel will be increased significantly. That's the point. The first section is about the nickel market.
That Bagus, we have limited time, so maybe I ask to speed up slightly.
Okay, and then second is we can see the value chain of the nickel in Indonesia. We can see here the blue one is already established in Indonesia, and the green boxes is about the facility that is still under development, and the red one still not development yet, not available in Indonesia. I think the red one will be the opportunity for some parties to invest in Indonesia. So according to the current situation, the nickel smelter data overview, we will have around 65 nickel smelter in the next future, and the current smelter operating is about 25 smelters, and we hope then until 2024 we will have 65 smelters, that whereas the total investment is around 30 billion. If the whole smelter are operating, so the total ore needed is around 132 million ton per year for the Saproa one, and then 132 million ton per year ore needed. So the total production will be 26 million ton, the capacity of the whole smelter that will be established in Indonesia. So I think this is the composition of the product from the smelters that will be established in Indonesia, whereas the NPI and the ferronickel and also stainless steel will be dominated the derivative product from the smelter in Indonesia. So for the contribution to the global market for the nickel, so Indonesia will be dominated for the NPI product that will be increased sharply from 28% in 2020 until 50% trajectory on 2025. I think it will be a very significant contribution to the global nickel market. And then one of the most important smelter that we can start to operating is the ESPA project for utilize the product to support the battery industries. Now we will have 6 smelter industry that operate by the ESPA method. And then in the current future, the nearest one will be the PT Halmahera. Obi Island will be COD in 2021. And the whole 6 smelter already spent about $6 billion USD for the total investment, and it's about 28 ore will be needed for fulfill the whole 6 smelter. But according to lesson learned from the other project of ESPA, it will be a very tough challenge to the ESPA project. According to the current situation in the ESPA projects in the world or around the world, from the 11 of the ESPA project, only 2 succeed. Some challenges depends on the one of the challenges is the large of the capex is even greater than the RCAP one, and the other one is we also face the top challenge for the ESPA project is about the environmental impact on the slurry. So we have problem how to manage the waste the waste from the slurry from the ESPA, because if we use the deep sea tailing placement, we have problem with the pollute to the ocean that make a pollution to the biodiversity. That's the one problem. But if we construct the tailing dam, but we have other potential for some accident, especially due to the landslide or the earthquake. But the other hand, if we use the dry stacking, we also the smelter also, or the investor also face the high cost of the waste management. But in the other hand, the air cap or the blast furnace normally utilized in Indonesia, they use the coal firing for the power generation. They also put some footprint for the carbon in that product. So we think that according to this data, that the NPI can produce some carbon footprint in their product for the NPI product. So the next slide is, if we use the things to support the battery industry, we also have another option, another alternative to convert the ferronickel or the NPI by convert to this battery material. So I think it's one of the options that we are still thinking or discussing about this one to mitigate if the EXPA project is have problem with the waste management. So in the third section, I will discuss about the current situation of the nickel ore reserve and resource. How about the situation? We are the nickel champion in the world from the resource. We have around 11 billion resource for 5 billion ton reserve. They are operating some now current situation that they operate from the 32 IUP and 2 contract area. Most of them operated in Sulawesi, Maluku, in Papua, and the current situation about the production in the current 2 years. The last 2 years, the total production passed more than 10 million ton per year after the export ban regulation implemented in Indonesia. Then, according to the simple calculation, if the whole smelter, 65 smelter established and operate in Indonesia, based on the process by pyrometallurgy with the air cap smelter, utilize the more than 1.7% grade of the nickel, and the hydromet is under the 1.7% nickel grade. The sustainability, the saprolite ore will be sustained for 14 years by the consumption of the nickel saprolite ore around more than 100 million ton per year. And then for the limonite, for the EXPA project, the consumption for the current project will be consumed about 28.5 million ton per year. It will be sustained for 100 years. So I think it's very long period to make a sustainability supply to fulfill the whole smelter that will be established in Indonesia. So that's the point about the outlook for the supply to fulfill the electricity vehicle in Indonesia, as well as the global market for the EV. So what is the impact for the nickel downstream policy for the Indonesia? I will show you briefly for the current situation about the implication of the impact of the nickel downstream. We can see here the value of mining and downstream product. After we conduct the nickel downstream, then the nickel ore already banned and there is no export for the nickel ore. And then we can see here the increase of these nickel products derivative that already export from the Indonesia increased significantly, and we can see here, the position, the ranking of this iron and steel in among the product that exported from Indonesia. And we can see another data about the comparison between the iron and steel value for export compared to the vehicle as what we call one of the important product that's exported from Indonesia. We can see here since 2020, the iron and steel export volume already passed the volume of the vehicle export from Indonesia. And we can see here how about the contribution from the taxes from the smelter industry to the government of Indonesia, the amount is increased significantly from 4.2 trillion in 2008 until 6.9 trillion in 2019. So I think the last is very important, how the government support to endorse, to encourage the nickel downstream, and also to endorse the downstream industry, particularly for battery industry and also for electric vehicle. So I can show you briefly here about what kind of this product that can we utilize as a value-added value chain from the ore until the electric vehicle. We can see how about the pricing from $30 for nickel ore until very expensive here, and then from the multiplier increase about one time here until more than 470 times more value from the ore until the electric vehicle. So I think the government already provide some regulation from the upstream as well as downstream. We already implement the export ban according to the MEMR regulation 11/2019, and we also conduct some presidential decree for national strategic project to endorse the project for the nickel downstream. And also we implement this, what we call the HPN, the price reference regulation, according to to create the national domestic nickel transaction is a very fair situation. And also we prepare for the stakeholder tax allowance. And there is also the mandatory to make an obligation to create downstream inside the country according to the law number 3/2020. This is in the part, the upstream and to the midstream side from the smelting and refinery industry regulation. And for the downstream, for the EV industry and the EV battery industry, the government also already conducted the Presidential Decree number 55/2019. So I think it will be endorsed and encouraged to develop the climate conducive climate investment for the EV battery and EV industry. So by that facility and the regulation, we hope that the government can get some benefit, a good benefit from the upstream, intermediate, and the downstream, but by increasing the contribution to the PDB and also enlarging this job opportunity for the people of Indonesia. And also we can increase the tax contribution approximately to 1 billion per annum. So that's the whole my presentation, and the final is I can show you about how about the conclusion about the government perspective regarding in the nickel downstream. So I think the first one is nickel downstream. We can introduce the stainless steel first to encourage by utilize the NPI or the ferronickel product, and then the battery next is the right step to create a great added value for the benefit of Indonesia. That we know that Indonesia is the largest nickel resource and reserve in the world. So I think the government already put and conduct and create the regulatory and policy tools for these purposes. So the second is for the national interest, it needs to continuously develop and improve the national capacity such as technology, human resources, and investment, and also market. We have to create national investment and also enlarging the national market to receive the downstream product from the nickel industry, such as battery and also this electric vehicle. And we can take the optimizing the advantage of the nickel industry, nickel downstream import. So the third is we have to optimizing the upstream side, because of we have to increasing the amount and the quality information of the nickel resource and reserve in order to resilience nickel supply. It's very important to make to ensure the smelter investment in the midstream and to meet the growing demand for this nickel derivative product, and also taking golden opportunities for endorse Indonesia to become a global producer of the EV batteries, and also for the regional player for the electric vehicle in the future. So I think it's very important. In the end, we think this country will continue to support the transition of the world energy toward the more environmentally friendly energy use in the future. So the last one, I think, based on our topic, how about the sustainability supply of nickel to fulfill the nickel downstream? According to the data of Nickel Resource and Reserve Indonesia, the supply of nickel will meet the needs of the existing smelter. The 65 smelters, the air-cap smelters or the ASPA project can be provided from the current production and the future production, because of the amount of this resource and reserve is still used. So I think the resource is considered will be sufficient for the next several decades to come, particularly in the limonite. Under 1.7 can provide a lot of resource to make a feedstock to the ASPA project. That's all, everybody. Thank you for your attention. So I hope that my presentation is enough for you, and you can understand what I present for this topic. Thank you, Pak Stephen. Thank you all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Pak Tubagus. That was really good. It's very clear that the government has taken great steps and has achieved a wonderful status of the nickel market here. Very close to achieving 50% of world nickel supply. When you think back a few years ago, Indonesia produced 30% of world supply, but mostly in the form of raw ore exports. And now they will be achieving close to 50% of processed nickel in the form of NPI and stainless steel. Is a huge achievement, and the government should be congratulated for that. Next up, we have some presentation by our sponsor, Shell. So I would like to give the floor to Pak Andri, the Director of Lubricants in Shell Indonesia. Pak Andri, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Stephen. First, I would like to warm welcome to our distinguished speaker and all participants in this webinar. This is truly a very insightful and important sharing about the Indonesia future and very promising business. Yeah, as shared by Pak Tubagus as well, that Indonesia has been marked as the largest nickel producer in the world, and now has been transforming into more processed nickel in order to grab the future opportunity of energy transition, where the electric battery will be coming to relegate the the traditional energy. Yeah, so that will attract not only the domestic but also the foreign investment into the business. So now that's triggered Shell, who has presence in Indonesia, to also contribute in the process and support the government's program in the accelerating of nickel and smelter industry in Indonesia. So next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, just a glance about the Shell lubricants. Probably everyone here knows that about Shell. Shell is the integrated energy company, upstream, integrated gas, new energy, and downstream. And lubricant is part of the downstream business and has presence in Indonesia. And I'm very pleased to share that Shell has been marked as the first #1 global lubricant supplier for 14 years in a row. and these achievements won't happen without the support and the trust, as well as a partnership that have been happening between Shell and the customers. So I would like to thank you for everyone here who have partnership with Shell by far. So because without that, Shell will not won't be able to achieve those milestones. And one of the feedback from our stakeholder and partner, the reason why we are keeping to be number one is predominantly because one, we are providing the reliable supply where the globally shall have the facility of 4 base oil plant, 32 blending plant across the globe, including in Indonesia. I will share about the Indonesia after this. And second is about the technology that we are providing for our consumer, and including the cutting edge technology that referring to the energy transition. One of it is Shell has already launched, introduced the product, lubricant product that using the gas to liquid, not to relegate the traditional base oil from the crude oil, but we have changed it into the gas to liquid, which is contribute the less carbon to the earth. And the other part is not only about the lubricants, but also we continually to evolve, not only providing the lubricant, but also the solution, this is about the services. It's about after sales service, the digital platform that help our customer to be more efficient. And as well as our global partnership with most of the OEM that truly provide the confidence and trust from our stakeholder and consumer across the globe. Next. Now, what about Shell in Indonesia? Indonesia has been marked as a very important country by Shell. Therefore, we also committed to invest and support the government program on the Indonesia economic growth by investing one of our great facility in Indonesia. So as I mentioned earlier, that Shell have 32 blending plant across the globe, and Indonesia is one of it, and is one of the most modern facility in the world. It's fully automated process, also transforming into the industrial 4.0. And also have the lab testing facility that we're going to evolve time to time. And on top of it, in order to support the government program as well as Paris Agreement that the government has committed for that, our facility in Marunda, our plant, blending plant, already installed with the renewable energy, where we also installed the solar panel. We also calculated that we reduce about 50% of carbon dioxide. And what we also I'm also proud is Shell presence in Indonesia is fast growing. Therefore, we are now in the process of expanding our blending facility. We are doubling our facility in Marunda in order to serve the market in Indonesia, where is a very promising country. It's marked to be the one of big 10 world global countries in the world as in terms of size of the economy. So I would like to also welcoming the participant and stakeholders here. In the case, would like to visit our facility in Marunda in northern Jakarta, we are very warm welcoming. Next. Yeah, this is part of our facility. Two things that I would like to stand out here is to support the government program as well as the product distribute Indonesia have to comply with the standard national Indonesia that we the first lubricant product that have the certificate of the SNE in Indonesia, and also to support the government program on how to contribute on the economic. We also increasing the we call it as a local content certifications or TKDN, yeah, in order to support the Indonesian economy. Yeah. So next. Here, just a glance, our logistic footprint. Up to now, we have one blending plant in Indonesia, located in northern Jakarta, which is Marunda, and we have around five depot to serve the Indonesia archipelago country from the Medan all the way to Papua. Yeah. Next. Our logistic capability is also supported by our business partner, which is our distributors across Indonesia. Again, from the Aceh all the way to Papua. So I'm very pleased and glad that our capability to serve consumer in Indonesia, both in the industrial and the automotive across the Indonesia archipelago. Yeah. Next. Yes. Now it's a bit a glance about the cell lubricant solution. This is our evolution to expand from the lubricant supplier to be a total solution. Yeah, and what's triggered us in this space? Yeah, because the global economy and competition is running fast. And last year during the pandemic, as we all know, that is very challenging years, and it's truly changing the what you call the behavior, I would say the process of production as well by customer, and it's trigger our momentum to evolve our solution to the customer. So therefore, we are now not only providing the lubricant, but also up to the services, which is change the behavior of the consumer toward the digital is part of it. Yeah, so it will help and support the production and the manufacturing process to be more efficient. Yeah. Next. Yeah, this is related to the very trending topic around the decarbonizations. Now, Shell has declared the strategy toward the decarbonizations. So each business unit in the organization is targeting to reduce the carbon toward our journey to net zero carbon by 2050. Yeah, and in the lubricant business, we also have launched. Next, Chris. We also have launched the carbon neutral products. Yeah, the way it works is, so every liter that our consumer use will be credited and contribute for the carbon credits. Yeah, so it will be to buy the carbon credit. Yeah, to plant the trees. So it's a carbon neutral. Yeah, it's part of our programs across the globe, and I also very proud that now Shell has a program in Indonesia, in the Kantingan in West Kalimantan, of the reforestation as part of the carbon credit that we have built in Indonesia. So I think with that, a glance about Shell, and thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you very much. That was really interesting. It's very interesting to see all companies, including Shell, are looking to reduce carbon footprint. And that plays really well into what was being said earlier by Pak Tubagus.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Now we have a really interesting and key topic on nickel price trend. This will drive development of the future of the nickel industry. So we have Mr. Henki, Head of Market Research of PT IKI. I'll give the floor to you now, Pak Henki.
Thank you, Pak. Can we start the slide, please? Hello?
Ya, Pak.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can we start the slide, please, Pak Adianto?
Oke, Pak. Lari kok.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. We are waiting the slide. Thank you for, first of all, we would like to say thank you to our participants for attending the 2021 Indonesia Nickel Industries, which provided by PT Index Komoditas Indonesia and also Putra. We get requests from the moderator to bring the challenging topic about nickel price trend. Next slide, Pak. We'd like to introduce about ourselves first. PT Index Komoditas Indonesia was established since 2017 to provide independent, transparent, and reliable price for Indonesian commodities. PT Index Komoditas Indonesia, or I will say in the next, in all presentations will be IKI, also creating price reference will give an added value for the stakeholders, like for producers, and also including for government itself. PT Index Komoditas Indonesia, or IKI, also provides reports about Indonesian commodities, supply and demand, price movement, regulations, infrastructures, and many more. As you see in the left side of our presentation, at this moment, there are 3 reports which issued by IKI, which are the palm oil report, Indonesian nickel report, and also Indonesian coal report. PT IKI also provides consultancy, training, and also event which related to the commodities. Next slide, please. Before we're talking about the price in 2021, we would like to give some brief about the price movement in 2020, because we believe it's have some strong relationship with what had happened in the price on March 2021. The COVID-19 has causing some pressures to nickel commodities in 2020, which made nickel price decrease from 13,500 in January 2020 to hit the bottom by almost 11,700 in April 2020, as you can show in the left upper chart in our presentation. Meanwhile, China ferronickel imports in January and April 2020 has increased significantly to overcome decreased import of its nickel ore, as you can see in both charts in the bottom of our presentation. In IKI research, we found that the nickel price has started to increase in May 2020 after the China government planned for a fiscal stimulus package of nearly 3.6 trillion yuan. to offset the economic shock as the effect of coronavirus. And along with the China stimulus plan, the China government also planned to issue a special bond of around 3.75 trillion yuan, which will be used for the infrastructure projects like railways, airports, and many more. The news from the China government has given some sentiments on mining commodities, including nickels, to start rebound due to the expectation of increased nickel demand in the future. But in our research, in IKI research, we found that the high increased price in the monthly basis on 2020 actually happened in August 2020 after Tesla made the statement requesting the nickel market for mine more nickel. And in the statement, Tesla also promises for giving a giant contract in the long-term period for nickel miners, which are able to produce mine in environmentally friendly manner. The statement from Tesla also followed by some massive news predictions by a lot of nickel institutions in the world, which predicted about the huge increased nickel demand from electric vehicles. Please beware, this is prediction. Tesla make its statement. The nickel institution make their predictions. This statement has made the nickel price continue its rally until end of 2020, up until February 2021. Many people believe that the increase on nickel price in 2020 was caused by high China demand on nickel ore. However, if you see from the chart at the right side of our presentation, that on the upper side, that the nickel ore price in China was actually increased since last quarter of 2020 due to tight supply of nickel ore from Philippines as the effect of bad weather, and also because of the riots or demonstration in New Caledonia. Many also believe that the increase of nickel prices, the increase of nickel prices was also caused by the high nickel demand from China and also high stainless steel consumption in China. However, if you see from both charts which came from China government showed that ferronickel import from China in 2020 increased by 74.6% year on year, with almost 8 to 3.44 million tons, with almost 80% of the ferronickel import, or around 2.733 million tons, was came from Indonesia. But on the other side, China ore import, if you see on the left bottom, China ore import in 2020 was falling by more than 30% year in year to only 39 million tons, with almost 32 million wet tons came from the Philippines. Based on the both data about the China ferronickel import, about the China ore import, it can make calculation that actually China nickel import in 2020 was falling by around 0.1 million tons in nickel basis, which means that actually the nickel demand in China was not as high as expected by others. And also the statement about the increased stainless steel consumption in China is also questionable, because in IKI research we found that there's a huge increase of stainless steel inventories in China utilities due to the low stainless steel demand from the export and the domestic market. And IKI conclusion about the low stainless steel demand from China also based on the stainless steel price in Shanghai Putra exchange in 2020, which relatively stable or decreased compared to the price in 2019. Based on this data, IKI then concludes that the increased nickel price in 2020 was caused by the sentiment only rather than demand. The sentiment only is based on the market expectations on increased nickel demand from electric vehicles due to the statement from Tesla, and also by the massive news about the massive news in forecasting huge nickel demand from electric vehicles in the future. Next slide, please, Pak. If you see again from the chart here, this is the nickel price in 2021. Since January and February, nickel price is relatively stable at around 18,000 to 19,000 US dollar per ton. But price in March 2020 has decreased by 11.22% month-on-month to US to $16,480 per ton. There is many belief that the decrease happened because of Tsingshan plant to process its nickel pig iron to produce nickel matte. However, if you see that from the chart here, the decreased price was started happen for the first time on 26th of February 2021, which based on the Tesla statement on its planning to replace some of its electric vehicle battery from nickel to iron as the effect of high nickel prices. I can believe the statement from Tesla is one of the major effects which make reduce market expectation about huge nickel demand in electric vehicle, which is against the Tesla statement in August 2020, which we already discussed in our previous slide. I don't believe.
Siapa ini ya? Nama siapa ya, Pak?
Sorry.
Iya.
I don't believe about coincidence, but I don't believe about coincidence. Sorry again. I don't believe about coincidence, but it's very interesting to find out that Tsingshan's statement came several days after Tesla's statement. It's very interesting to find out about that. It will be different cases happen in nickel price if the Tsingshan statement came before Tesla statement, as Iki believe Tsingshan statement will not affect much to nickel price movement because it's not related to reduce nickel demand in the electric vehicle. Tsingshan only mentioned that it can be processed nickel pig iron to nickel matte. Meanwhile, Tesla's statement said that they will reduce the nickel consumption on its electric vehicle battery. Now, moving forward, if you see that from the chart here, the nickel price in March 2021 were relatively stable at 16,000 US dollar per ton. There is still, usually if the price like this, there is two possibilities may happen. Either the price will increase or either the price will decrease. In Iki opinion, if the price will increase in the remaining month of 2021, it will need huge, strong sentiment rather than the sentiment about electric vehicle, which already reduced by Tesla itself. The sentiment can become like the economy stimulus. I believe market now waiting about the economy stimulus from the China government, the status about COVID-19 outbreak, and also the vaccine efficacy, and also market expectation about the increased China stainless steel consumption. As we already discussed previously, in 2020, China's stainless steel consumption were decreasing, not increasing like many others believe. However, considering that there is a lot of new variant of COVID-19, and also the China economy condition, expecting for them to launch economic stimulus will be less likely happen. So in Iki opinion, the price in the remaining month of 2021 may start decrease and may rebound in the last quarter of 2021 As you see the other time, China will go to the market and doing a lot of aggressive buying for a nickel. That is our forecast about the price in 2021. Next slide, please. We already discussed about China import. We would like to also discuss about Indonesian nickel supply in our presentation. IKI calculate in 2020 that Indonesia has produced nickel metal of around 5.5 million tons, with 3.23 million tons were sold to export market. This is based on Indonesia government data, not ASTM data. So meanwhile, for those of you who subscribe Indonesian nickel report, you will understand from where we get 5.5 million tons. For information also, this is million ton in metal, not million ton in nickel basis. Meanwhile, ASTM statement in media said in 2020, Indonesia has produced nickel metal of 2.41 million tons, with 1.43 million tons were sold to domestic and an export market. If you see, there is huge difference. There is huge difference between IKI calculation and also ASTM statement. This has happened because of the different data we take on export. IKI believe that 3.23 million nickel export were more reliable, more accurate rather than ASTM data. As based on our research, it's near to the China government data about its nickel metal import from Indonesia, and also it's close to what the Korean government say about its nickel metal export from Indonesia. The huge difference between ASTM figure and also IKI figure also came from the difference about the numbers operating nickel metal. We always notice that ASTM always mentioned in the media that there are only 12 or 13 nickel smelters have been operated in 2020. Meanwhile, Indonesia government data showed that in 2020, there are 21 nickel smelters have been operated. That is why there's a huge difference between our figure and ASTM figure. IKI predict in 2021, nickel metal production will be 6.20 million tons, and the production will be stable to around 8.4 to 8.5 million tons within 2023 and 2024. This is based on our assumption on the completed nickel smelter project. However, there is some roadblock which may decreasing our expectation about nickel metal supply, like the delay in smelter construction due to the financial issues. IKI found that some companies have faced the same matter. And also the next one, investigation of Indonesian dumping. As at the moment, there is China government is doing investigations about Indonesia stainless steel probably doing dumping and due to the lower price. Meanwhile, the Korea government already agreed to impose more than 20% of the non-dumping taxes for Indonesian stainless steel. If the China government do the same like the Korea government, it will be affect much to decrease nickel supply from Indonesian smelter. The next one, which IKI think will be roadblock to the nickel metal supply, is the Indonesia plan to remove nickel ore ban export. This may not happen in the near time. This is IKI thinking, but the way we're feeling, how the government move, how the government reaction to their mining commodity, there is some possibility that Indonesia will remove this nickel ore ban in the near future. And the next one, which IKI think will be a roadblock to nickel metal supply, is the tension between European Union and Indonesia government about nickel ore ban. In IKI opinion, if the Indonesian government is not take this case carefully, it will be affect seriously to Indonesian nickel supply, metal supply in the future. Next slide, please.
Hinky, we have limited time now. So
yes,
I might ask you to speed up. Thank you.
Yes, Pak. Yes, but this is the nickel smelters which already operated in 2020. We already compiled 21 nickel smelters which already operated based on Indonesia government data, instead of 12 as the ASTM statement in the media. Next one, Pak. Next slide, Pak. Yes. Next one. Okay. Thank you. If you have any questions about index comunitas or prices, you can email us at support@indexcomunitas.com, or you can check our email at indexcomunitas.com. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Pak Hengki. And now we move into the final part. We have a variety of CEOs with us to be part of a panel discussion. I believe, Pak Alexander Barus, you have a presentation, a short presentation. I'll give you the floor first to go through that very briefly.
All right, Steve. Hello?
Yes, thank you, Pak. Silakan.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Pak Steve, Pak Medinis Payung, and my colleagues, other people attending this Zoom meeting. Let me convey my presentation in English. I will mix with Indonesian, certainly. But let me brief first about what I'm going to present in this Zoom meeting, that this material actually is a recycled material, because I have presented this material also to our parliament 2 times, but the topic is still the same. What is the future of our nickel? Always, everywhere I meet people, the question are still the same. So I think we will discuss here, but let me give my view and thought and presentation based on what we experience from the field. So please, can you post the presentation, please? Hello? Yeah, this is, I wrote this in Indonesia because I have presented this presentation to different people and different institutions. I call this a prospect of nickel-based industries in Indonesia. For this time, because the EO asked me as a CEO of PT Indonesia Morowali Industrial Park, I will do that, but at the same time, I'm also the chairman of Indonesian Forum, Smelter Forum. So we have member of 21 smelters in Indonesia. Okay, go ahead, please. Next. This is all before. I think we understand all the regulation and law that we are working on. This is our constitution. This is that Article 33, and we have Undang-Undang Perindustrian, and we have the Undang-Undang Minerba that was issued in 2009. That was the base for our smelter that we built. And then this revised to number 3. I think we understand all this law and regulation that govern our movement in this area. Next. Kondisi saat ini, the current situation that according to the our Badan Geologi Bandung, that we have resources around 11 million metric ton. We have reserve about 4.5, but we have proven around 1 million metric ton, 1,000 million metric ton. So this is what we call that P1, proven. We have probability that's around 4.5. we have possibility resources about 11 trillion metric ton. For smelter, this is a Forum Industry Nickel Indonesia, we just formed last year in August. We have 23 smelters member, and our capacity now, it was last year, 5.4 million metric ton per year NPI. And number of people were employed 45,000 before. This is a direct one. We have a supplier, contractor, all in all, about 150,000 people that depends on these 23 smelters. Total investment last year is 10.1 billion US dollar. I think this year will increase about 13 billion US dollar. Next. We produce stainless steel. There are two companies now. One in Morowali, that's 3 million metric ton. Another one in Fitch Dragon in Konawe. The investment 3.2 billion, not million, billion US dollar. Last year, all the smelter we calculated, we pay our tax in rupiah, 9.3 trillion rupiah. We paid the tax. And this is the export only from IMIP, because we cannot note or from our other members. From IMIP last year, it was 6.7 billion US dollar. All total, we estimated from all members, that's about 10 billion US dollar we export last year. This year, I think we'll reach around 14 billion US dollar with our export, even though we have a pandemic here, but I think our export for the NPI and stainless steel not much disturbed by the pandemic. Next. This is our problem, but let me just explain what the problem for our future. The select nickel that's luckily just recently is already considered not B3, they are not toxic anymore. Let me show how the problem will come in the future if you don't take care of these problems. For slag, let's say we use 1.8 nickel content with content of ferro 20%. The total we use is about 25%, assume. Moisture 30%. The total actually we use and we put in the furnace 55%. So the slag more or less 45%. So every 1 ton of nickel ore we put to our furnace, the slag produced is 450 kilograms, so 45%. This is 45% the slag. Now we come to tailing. This is the problem that we have to take care. Otherwise, our dream will never come true. Let's say, assume that we use nickel content 1.5% in average to produce cathode for EV battery. Assume if we can use 1.3, we can use 1% nickel content, but assume we use in average 1.5% nickel content. Let's say cobalt and mangan totally with impurity 2%. So moisture, let's say 30 to 35%. So total use that we can process and not going to be the tailing is about 35%. So in the end, we produce tailing 65% of all the ore we process. After we do the hydro acid leaching, 65%. So what I can say here that every 1 ton of ore we process for cathode, we produce 650 kilogram tailing. In 1 car, in average, 1 EV, we need about 45 kilogram of nickel. So every car EV we produce, we need 3 weight metric ton nickel ore. So let's assume our country will produce nickel cobalt mangan cathode for 10 million of EV. So we produce 10 million times 3 million of ore for each car and tailing 65%. So every 10 million car a cathode we produce for EV, we produce 19.5 million metric ton of tailing, of which we have to take care. Just remember this. We will see later in the end of this presentation. Next. What the prospect? The prospect in Morowali, we produce now already until stainless steel type of 300 serial, and hot roll we produce 3 million, and we produce cold roll coil that is 400 million metric ton. Cold roll coil of stainless steel is already final product for upstream, meaning that if you are trying to produce something, this is already final, you can produce a final product from cold roll coil stainless steel. Right? And also we produce 200 serial. What is the difference of these two? For 300 serial, it needs input high nickel content from 1.75 up nickel content. But for 200 serial, we can use a low nickel content, of which we always talking about producing nickel cathode for nickel for battery EV. But other use, we can use also this for low grade stainless steel, let's say for household and for fans, other things. What's the problem? The problem for our downstream industries, like our friends from Ministry of Industry, that now we import a lot of stainless steel, even though we produce stainless steel in the country. That issue should be looked after. Why is the problem coming? Because there's no meaning we produce in Morowali or later on in Pitsu Dragon if we still import the stainless steel. The reason always the specs. I think we can talk about the specs, but until today, our hot roll coil demand from local is not that much, even bigger from Taiwan. And also domestically, we haven't produced and developed stainless steel based products. We should be competitive in this area, but anyway, we haven't produced that products, and our research and development that's not really linked to our industry product. So let's say for Morowali, we expected before that the demand will be from domestic, but it's not that happen. And another problem that for the future of the industry, that about the employment, we have to set up our own polytechnic in Morowali, and also for the battery producing later, we already built one factory, mini factory, to train people in case the factory for cathode nickel cobalt mangan materialize. So we are ready with our employees. So we built in Morowali a pilot factory. That should also concern our for all of us in the future, that the employee for our lithium battery factory will not be coming from outside. Next, please. Next. So what in Morowali we are planning actually to build a cathode for lithium battery with capacity of 240,000 nickel metric ton per year. But the problem, like I said before, this is the tailing problem. It has been 2 years now. We are ready, groundbreaking in 2019, but the solution for the tailing is not there yet. So, like I said before, if we deep sea tailing dam, that will be a problem. Not only the problem, there's no permit for that. But we built a dam for that will be high cost. The product will not be that competitive. And also it is really something that risks for earthquake. So there's two situations that restrain us now to move on to produce and to build our factory for lithium battery. I hope that in the near future there will be solution for the tailing. Otherwise, how can we say we are the main player of the lithium battery, but we don't not give the solution for the tailing. Also, we plan actually we built one recycled lithium battery in Morowali with 20,000 nickel metric ton per year. That will be also for the future. So I think the issue now, where we are now, we are waiting for the green light for the tailing. I hope in the near future will be a solution for that. And other things is that we hope that we are not exporter of cathode, but we are exporter of lithium battery in the complete. So we need to think about how to build a lithium battery packing factory in Indonesia. So there's not much value added we produce. We only export the cathode. Next. Finally, what we need to recommend. As I said before, that our proven nickel, of which we can mine economically about 1,000 million metric ton. That means now smelter already use about 80 million metric ton per year. Let's say for the battery, we use 30 million metric ton ore per year. Totally, that's around 100 million metric ton per year we use for smelter and for lithium cathode. Given that the proven is 1,000 million metric ton, that only lasts for 10 years. So I think we need to think about to limit the extraction of our nickel ore up to, let's say, 50 million metric ton per year. So we can still inherit for young generation in the future that we have nickel. Otherwise, if we do like what we have now, 100 million metric ton per year, then in 10 years, no more. The other things that we hope that the technology can move the reserve to area of proven. Then we have a lot of nickel. So what I'm saying here that resources we have, reserve we have, but the most important that we have the proven one. That is the meaning for. Otherwise, resources, it can be under the river, it can be under the protected forest. We cannot do anything. So I think we need to think about to limit the extraction of nickel ore. Other things that the government might think, I don't know. We have to also think about regulating the export of nickel pig iron. So we are the production, the producer of stainless steel will think to relocate the stainless steel facility to Indonesia, because we always export the nickel pig iron, so we'll never grow our stainless steel system in Indonesia. Secondly, I think this is what we experience in Morowali, that there are a lot of people looking for job, but what we need is those who are those who fit to our needs. So this also we think the government should think about how to reorient our education system. Then the third one, as we noted that in Morowali, we build from housing, airport, seaport, even power plant. We have now about 3,000 megawatt of our power plant. We build everything there. I think it would be nice and competitive if the government also provide basic infrastructure so that our factory will be competitive. And other thing we think that we need to encourage in the future that our banking system should also support the process of downstreaming of our commodity, including nickel. And I said before, we need the solution and permit how to handle the tiling. Otherwise, we'll never have the lithium battery cathode here, because people outside the country will never buy the product that's not environmentally friendly. So if we just dump our tailing in the area, in the sea or in the area that people there, then our product will never be in the world market, because environmentally friendly is the requirement for the products. Then lastly, we hope that there will be investor in the future to build not only a factory for the cathode, but also the factory for lithium battery in complete one. I think, ladies and gentlemen, that is my presentation. Finally, I just want to say that for the nickel, which is now it's very beautiful girl and sexy, people looking the nickel, but if you don't treat it wisely, and this girl, I think in the future will not be interesting anymore, it will not be sexy anymore. So we need to treat this wisely. Thank you very much. I hope this discussion will fruitful and give something down the road that will give our industry, nickel-based industry, more competitive in the market. Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much, Pa Alexander. We're now into the panel session. So we have a few questions for our panelists. So all of the speakers, I believe, are still on the line. We also have Mr. Scott Yee from IWIP and Dana from Andam. So I'm going to go to the questions. One thing I would like to start with, there was a few questions on electricity supply and also renewable energy going into electricity supply to support the nickel industry. Maybe I could ask Pak Tubagus to comment.
Yep. Please give the floor to Mr. Scott.
Oh, okay, Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott, I believe, do you have some comments, Mr. Scott? Scott Yee. You on the line?
Already, Pak. Hello, Pak Scott.
Scott, are you there? You can see he's on the line.
Sorry, the microphone already active.
Yeah. Okay, we might have lost him. Maybe while we wait for Scott, I could ask Pak Bagus, are you able to comment on electricity supply, whether it's sufficient for the energy transition, and especially if there's renewable energy available for nickel producers?
So I already answered the question, Pak Stephen. I already
Scott udah already, Pak.
Okay.
My comment into on the chat room, and then
perfect.
Later for Pak Tony question, I will ask for him. Okay.
Okay.
Scott,
are you on the line?
Yes, you just come back. Yes.
Okay.
I think it's a connection problem. Yes.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Scott. Do you have any comments from IWIP that you would like to convey, Scott?
You just go like you need to go.
Yes. You know, that's the Mr. Alexandra said. You know that Nico was a beautiful girl, but you should treat it nicely. You know, otherwise you're no more sexy. Somehow like that is correct. You know, that's my view. Is that Nico maybe now is because of the high price, the cheaper. A lot of the new investor come to Indonesia. And you can see maybe in the 1 year or 2 years later will be oversupply of the ferronickel. Then you will see more and more discount on the, on the ferronickel side. Meanwhile, the nickel sulfide because of the new energy car, and you can see because of the premium also they got premium plus. That's the trend. That's the why and we are thinking so we should maybe convert the ferronickel to the nickel matte somehow like that, to how to say avoid this kind of oversupply in ferronickel side. That's my view on the current market. People are thinking how to convert the ferronickel to the nickel matte, to how to say to receiving to accept the new because the new trend of the nickel industry also. Yes.
Yeah, great. And just on that conversion, are there any technical challenges in converting and using an RKEF to convert to nickel matte?
It's converting, I think the nickel Vale also Inco also has the same process, maybe a little bit different, but quite similar. So we believe technically maybe it's not that difficult, but in the cost side, you must focus on the cost side. About the year rate of the nickel, and also you call it the converter, it's called the converter, it's called the equipment. There's a little bit new equipment for the converter, for the after ferronickel and go to the nickel matte side. This is a little bit small, a little bit challenging. We call it a challenge. And although the cost maybe at the beginning maybe it's a little bit the yield rate are not that high, That's the challenge, I think.
Yeah, and I see there's a question which is related, I think, from my good friend Pak Tony Guldom. His question at least to Pak Alexander, but also I think it applies to you as well, Scott. With the use of RKEF with the high energy consumption, do you think that will be difficult to sell the products to the EVs if you're using carbon as using coal?
Yes, as the the Alexandra said, of course, you should be using the environment friendly material for the battery for the EV industry. So that's why we are thinking, is somehow to using like solar energy and also wind energy and also the hydro energy also to produce this kind of product. But you need time, you cannot turn in one day. You need time, and the percentage we call it at the beginning maybe it's very small percentage, but with the technological method you can get more big the ratio of the green energy. That's you cannot achieve in one day. It's take time, and also definitely we should move that way on that way. Yes.
Okay, great. We have a question maybe for Pak Tubagus. There's a question on ore exports. Is there potential for the policy to be reversed and exports to resume?
Pak Steven, I already answered the question by...
Great. Okay.
So I think it's impossible for the government to reverse the regulation, because in any condition right now, except the government change that regulation. But for the current situation, is already a government statement and government regulation for prohibited the export ore nickel from the Indonesia.
Okay, wonderful. That's a great answer. We have a raised hand, Pak Sugiarto Handoko. Can we unmute Pak Sugiarto and allow him to ask his question? I'm not sure I have access to do that. Okay, Pak Sugiarto, if you could unmute your microphone and ask your question. Pak, mungkin harus di-unmute dulu mic-nya.
Mungkin salah itu Pak, salah ketik kali Pak. Pak Sugiarto.
No. Okay. I'll get to another question then. In the marine side, we have shipping companies facing difficulty doing loading of nickel. Maybe Pak Tubagus, are there any efforts to improve port facilities, or is this more of a private sector issue?
So I think for this issue, it depends on the ownership of the port. If you utilize your own ports, I think you can have a flexibility to manage your own port. But if you utilize the other seaport, so I think you have to discuss with the owner of the seaport to provide such a good facility and good logistic service for the customer. So I think it's better for the shipping company or the industry to discuss, or you can build your own seaport by your own company. I think that's the way out for this issue.
Yeah. Okay.
So
there's a question for Pak Alexander relating to green energy again. Pak Alex, is there any green energy at all within IMIP at the moment? And does that use is it carbon credit applied?
All right, thank you, Steve. I think this is a very good question. For now, up to this point, we are using coal-fired power plant. That's almost 3,000 megawatt. But down the road, I think we have to also go into that area. I think Mr. Xiang recently mentioned about.
Itu Bu ya, langsung ya Bu, setelah ini Bu ya.
Halo?
Oh.
Okay, Pak Alex, you can continue.
Okay. Mr. Xiang, I think from Shanghai, just mentioned about the planning to build solar energy about 2 gigawatt. That was a statement from Mr. Xiang. I think we need still time to do that. Also, yesterday, we are discussing about using hydro power from Lariang River in Palu. There are the potential is can reach 500 megawatt and build transmission from Lariang to Morowali. But still, it is still discussion. For now, we are still using purely coal-fired energy. So that's the situation. There's no carbon credit yet. That's my answer, Steve. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, I think those are the main questions we had. There's one more just relating to sourcing of local products. Maybe Scott and Alex, are you able to comment on your sourcing policies, whether you source more from China or also from Indonesia?
Products are then, Steve, I don't understand.
So sourcing of, for example, your vendors, maybe they're talking about suppliers of IMIP and suppliers for IWIP. I'm guessing that this is about prioritizing local suppliers over Chinese suppliers.
Let me put this way. I think IMIP has been there almost nearly 9 years now. Yeah. Our policy has been always try to localize. The same with our employee. That's the reason why we build our Polytech in Morowali. As soon as possible, we can localize our employee. Now we employ about 8% of China, before almost 15%. The same goes for contractor. We have very experience to build our housing for our employee. There's 8 towers we built, but you can imagine we have to change 3 times contractors. So what I'm saying here is that as long as local competitor is competitive and the specs are there, certainly we are more than happy to localize. But there are material we don't have here. Let's say for chrome, for stainless steel. People say there are chromes here, but only scatters here and there. So we cannot mine it economically. So there's no choice. You have to import. Yeah. The same with mangan. Mangan, they are in NTT, Eastern Nusa Tenggara, there is mangan. But the land there is tanah and the mine scatters. And the quantity is not, you cannot rely on in the same quantity all the time. So there's no choice. We have to also source our material from outside. So what I'm saying here is that it has been our policy. As long as we can source locally, we'll do, given the economic competitiveness and the spec competitiveness. And the most important other things, time competitive. Yeah, that is the policy in IMIP. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, thanks very much. That's a really good ending. I think we're now coming to a close. It's nearly 4 p.m. So I'd like to thank all of the speakers and panelists and all of the participants and attendees here. Thanks very much for the great questions and the good discussion. What jumps out to me is just how advanced the Indonesian industry is right now. And it has a really bright future ahead. So this is a great time to be talking about nickel in Indonesia. So thank you very much, everybody, for your time, and I'll hand back to Ibu Desi.
Thank you, Pak Steven.
Thank you, Pak Steven. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the first day of the webinar series. 2021 Indonesian Nickel Industry, Investing in Sustainable Nickel Projects. Don't forget to join us again next week on Thursday, April 8, 2021, with the main topic, Global Nickel Outlook and Challenges. Please register now and book your space. Okay, thank you very much to all participants who joined today's webinar, and We hope all of you obtain a very fruitful discussion. Thank you to all speakers and panelists and moderator who have made their valuable time to be here today. Thank you, Pak Alexander Barus, Mr. Steven Brown, Mr. Hengki, Pak Hengki, thank you. And Pak Andri Pratiwa, didampingi oleh Pak Kris. Ya, oke Pak Adianto, kita langsung tutup berarti ya.
Ya.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time today, and we would like also express our deepest thank you and appreciate to our sponsors. We have PT Shell Indonesia as our main sponsor, and PT Jasa Mutu Mineral Indonesia, and also PT Putra Perkasa Abadi as our partner sponsor. Thank you very much. Stay safe and stay healthy, everyone. Good afternoon.